If you work with 4, 5, or 6-year-olds with speech sound disorders, I made this episode special for you. I have a very important study that you're going to want to pay attention to. You're going to want to upload this into your Google Drive, or you're going to want to download it and put it in your file cabinet. This is something you're going to want at your fingertips because we are going to talk about the social impact of having a speech sound disorder at age 4, 5, or 6 years of age. Why is this important? That's because every state in the United States has a different criteria, and some of the states in the United States have a -2 standard deviation criteria in order to qualify for services. Now, because of IDEA, we know that we qualify for services not based on one single source of information, but multiple sources of information. And we always have to look at the educational impact of the speech sound disorder. What this research indicates is that there is a social impact when it comes to speech sound disorders. And this is a study that you're going to want to cite if you are stating the social impact for speech sound disorders. So you have your clinical decision making, you have the unique child and how it's impacting them environmentally with their peer interaction, what you're seeing in the school, the information you're getting from the parent. So you're going to want to also get what is the parent's impact on the social impact of having the speech sound disorder from the child? What is the teacher's input when it comes to the social impact of having that speech sound disorder in the classroom and in the school settings from the child? What is your observation? If you can observe them in 2 different settings and you can see that there is a negative impact that is related to having the speech sound disorder, you're going to want to document this. And the reason you're going to want to document this is because when we make the decision about qualification, it's not based on one single source of information, but multiple sources of information, a connected speech sample, direct observation of socialization, because that if there's socialization, that is having an adverse impact on their educational performance. So we're going to derive our information from multiple sources to make a decision of whether or not this child qualifies. And that's very important because some states are -2, some states are a -1 standard deviation, some states it's based on your professional opinion of adverse educational performance. Every state in the United States has something different. So you really have to know your state laws. You have to know what the district expectations are, and you have to first and foremost advocate for what is right for the child. So that said, I want to dive into this research article. You are going to see this in your footnotes. So go down to your footnotes, and this is a free open access article. So there's no excuses not to download this article and have it ready because you are going to need this. And the reason you're going to need this is because this article clearly shows that as early as age 4 years, there is a negative peer interaction social impact when there is a severe speech sound disorder. So the name of the game with this article and their findings is that severity matters. So at age 4, it doesn't matter if the child has a moderate to mild speech delay. In that instance, the 4-year-olds are kind of worried about their own speech and developing their own speech, and they're not very metacognitive at that stage. You're not really thinking about others and others, what others are doing and how their relation to them. They're kind of stage in which everyone's going at their own level and worried about their own speech and developing their own sounds. And at that age, when they do this research, they show preference for children, when I say they, neurotypical children who are typically developing talkers, they show preference for typically developing talkers over children with severe speech sound disorders. So they give them a model of 2 different children talking, and you have one with that's neurotypical, and you have one with a severe speech sound disorder. So they show preference in the sense of they rate the one that is typically speaking. Neurotypical is being more intelligent at age 4, is being nicer, friendlier, more like them, and they rate the others as lower that have the severe speech sound disorder. So this is already at age 4 we're already seeing this perception of a child with a severe speech sound disorder is being rated lower at a lower level socially. And then at age 5, it becomes children to moderate to severe speech sound disorders are rated at a lower level across domains of intelligence, niceness, friendliness, likeness. So we're already seeing there's this negative social impact of having that speech sound disorder at 4 and at 5 years of age. So if you're like me, you work with a lot of 4 and 5-year-olds, you're just focused on that speech sound disorder and getting the greatest gains possible when neuroplasticity is at a high level in the brain, which is a really important area to focus on. But knowing that there is already social ramifications at this age in which they're already being perceived more negatively by their neurotypical peers, this is important if you're making a case for them to qualify. And you're saying that there is a negative social impact of having a speech sound disorder, and that they are more likely to be negatively perceived by their neurotypical peers for having a severe speech sound disorder at age 4, or for having a moderate to severe at 5. Then we move into age 6, and what this research found is, once again, severity matters. So now, when you're age 6, the children are saying, if the child has a mild, moderate, or severe speech sound disorder, they're more likely to be rated negatively. But furthermore, it gets higher stakes. And it gets higher stakes, sadly, and they're also more likely, when I'm saying mild, moderate, or severe, to be seen as not as a desirable candidate for friendship, or they're seen as less likable if they have a mild, moderate, or a severe speech sound disorder at 6 years of age. So you really see, as the child gets older, the speech sound disorder has a more negative impact on their ability to build friendships with other children. They're perceived more negatively, and the severity of the speech sound disorder is now at a mild level, and that matters when they compare it to children who are neurotypical. Now, this research wasn't rejection research. This was not research where they said, I do not like this child. This was preference research where they gave 2 different voices. They said, here is a child that's neurotypical talking versus a child that has a mild speech sound disorder at age 6. Which one do you rate more highly? The child who speaks neurotypically. But then they went a step further and said, which one are you more likely to want to be a friend with? The child who speaks clearly. Which one is more likable? The child who speaks clearly. So as you can see, the stakes get higher and higher. It matters more and more how clearly you speak the older the children get. So what we want to do is take this research, and you want to add that to your clinical decision making. And so you're going to make the statement, for instance, this child does not meet a negative 2.0 criteria. And you're a state, I think Minnesota is an example of that. You're in a state like Minnesota where you need that negative 2.0 criteria. And you're making the case that this child, there's some urgency here. And we know that earlier is better. This child at 4 years of age, we want this child receiving service right now when neuroplasticity is at a higher level and we can make greater gains. So you're going to add, research indicates that children with severe speech sound disorders are more likely to be negatively perceived by their neurotypical peers. You want to add, and then you add that citation. And then you add, after that, teacher observations, you add parent input, you add your observations. So you really paint a picture that you're getting this information from multiple sources. You're making the case, you're being an advocate for this child, because you know that we can't take a wait and see approach. We know that if this child at age 5 years of age, the more severe the impairment, the more severe the social ramifications. If the child's 6 years of age, the more severe the impairment, the more severe the social ramifications. So we don't want to take a wait and see approach. We want to be very proactive. This is very high stakes. We're not just talking about speech sound disorders. It's very much correlated with social acceptance. So I want you to have this research on hand because once again, we're not treating a mouth, we're treating a child here. And speech sound disorders is so much more than being able to articulate sounds accurately. It affects every area of the child's life. Go ahead and download this article and do what you do best, which is to roll up your sleeves and make the world a better place, one child at a time. You are always going to be first.